MYOB has come from a background where we've been synonymous with accounting and accountant software. Today we are more focused on solving our customers' business management problems. What that really means for us is making sure that there's the whole raft of different processes that we have to help our customers with. As we realised that the pace for the organisation was accelerating, we realised that we also had to have a product management framework that allowed us to match that pace. Thoughtworks was able to come in and help us to define our needs in that area and to be able to work across various different product lines to understand what the most effective framework and process was for us to roll out across the entire business.
So this is a really common problem we see with established product companies. You've developed a great relationship with your customers over time and you've developed a really strong product suite to respond to that. As economies become faster paced and customers have greater needs and expectations, it's hard to keep pace with that, to keep innovating at speed and scale.
And for MYOB, that was really around how to uplift and support their product management team and also their product delivery teams. Most organisations have understood that delivering projects doesn't lead to successful customer outcomes. Thinking about the products you're delivering, how you serve your customers, not only in delivering the product, but also operating, running, gathering the feedback, and then obviously improving that product for the customer's benefit in the end.
What we've seen is that by being clear about how we do our discovery process and our delivery processes here, it's actually helping us with onboarding new people. It's been able to help us to set better expectations around how the work is carried out, while still allowing people to be creative in the solutions that they provide.
We're also seeing the teams and individuals engage because they're learning more about good delivery management practices, and there's a growing pride that this framework that we've developed together with Thoughtworks is also something that the teams own, that they've had input into, rather than just being kind of pulled off the shelf from outside.
I think one of the most impactful things, we have people talking about product discovery a lot more often and are planning for it. We have them talking about our discovery and delivery, using the language and understanding the questions you need to ask at each stage to deliver a really good product to your customer. We've done that by working really closely with people at MYOB, and we co-design this with them. We roll it out with them. We extend it and expand it with the teams at MYOB. We've been able to roll this out and create that connectivity within MYOB across the product function, product and technology, because they now have this common way of looking at things.
Common feedback that we're getting back from the teams is they're more confident that what they're building or taking to market is going to be more valuable. So that makes them feel better about the work they're doing, but also more confident that they're helping our customers shift the needle on their business.
MYOB's future is in creating a business management platform for small to medium businesses across Australia and New Zealand to start, survive and succeed. Taking the discovery and delivery processes and the product management framework that Thoughtworks has helped to create with MYOB. For us, we want to be the champions of the small to medium business, and a big part of that is making sure that we've got the right solutions for them that are going to have that impact. If we didn't make the changes that we're looking to make through the discovery process, I think it would have really meant that we would have head off in too many different directions, tried too many things all at once, and discovery allows us to go through that process of making sure that we're doing the right things at the right time.